agenda where it's at, beer.
Well, guys, welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. He just recently went shopping for a vibranium coffee table at IKEA. Sonny is here.
Yes, I am.
He may or may not be practicing his Bollywood dance moves. Hot Dog Paul is here.
Oh.
Hello.
And last but not least, he believes that Cersei is, in fact, a wizard. Donovan is here.
You're a wizard, Cersei.
Guys, what's going on? We're all back together again. It's nice to see your smiling faces.
Oh, I love you guys. What's going on? I know
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot.
there is, especially with everything kind of going on in the internet right now, but I know the main thing that we can't even dance around is this Eternals movie.
What did you guys think?
So Nikita asked if we're going to talk spoilers. Yes, we are. We very much are going to talk spoilers. We're going to try to be a little spoiler free to start, give our general thoughts, and then we'll jump into spoilers.
Yeah, sounds
Boom.
good to me.
I'll try to. I think we'll try to dance around it and give kind of, you know, the outlook, but there is an awkward still in the room of, did you like the movie or not?
I want Donovan to go first.
Oh, we're waiting for it.
I did not enjoy this movie.
Oh man.
For a number of
Nikita said, "Oh, thank God."
for a number of reasons. I want to preface this with saying I wanted really bad to like this movie.
Right.
I was so looking forward
we all
to this
did.
movie.
Yeah, so did I, man.
This should have been a Disney Plus show.
Yeah.
And the only reasons why it wasn't a Disney Plus show is because Kevin Feige wanted to get those visuals on a huge screen, the biggest screen possible.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie was in it, and she's not going to be relegated to television anytime soon. She's
Right.
Angelina freaking Jolie.
Yeah.
Nobody puts Angelina Jolie in a TV show.
Nope. Yeah, that's good. And then Chloe, and then it was good. I liked that. That was fun. And then Chloe Zhao won an Oscar. So there was
Yeah.
no way an Academy Award winning director was going to be relegated to television either.
Yeah.
Which I think is a shame, because a story like this with thousands of years, it's literally 7,000 years we have to cover with these guys
Right. Right.
that we're getting in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And in those 2.5 hours, it was the most drawn out, boring exposition after exposition after exposition that we got. I didn't care for Cersei and Icarus at all. The relationship that they had with each other, there was no chemistry. There was no spark. There was no Tony and Pepper. There was none of that.
You know what the
happening
movie
there.
was? Half the
I
movie
didn't
was.
hate it.
Hi, I'm Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Hi,
Say,
I'm
buddy.
from Las Vegas. Where are you from?
I'm from Las Vegas as well.
Sick. That's cool. Nice to meet you. And then we moved on to something else. Somebody else got introduced. He's like, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah." It was just a bunch of
Yeah.
people introducing each other to each other.
So then there was all these sorts of, and then you have 10 characters. You're talking about building backstory for 10 characters.
I heard there was gonna be 12.
There was going to be 12 characters in the show.
It's really ambitious.
Guys,
Yeah.
10 characters. There's not even that many Avengers.
Yeah.
that we regularly, maybe there is at this point, I don't know. But in the portal
there's-
scene, we
yeah,
got thousands of
The
people.
point is, it's close, and that was one movie.
Yeah, and that was,
Right.
and it was all over the place. We
Yeah.
got Dane in the beginning, and then we got him at the very end.
Right.
I really wanted to enjoy this movie. We got potentially a really cool character in that Deviant,
Yeah.
and that was like any Marvel movie.
Throwing him out. Yeah.
He might as
Get
well
him
have
outta
not
here.
been- like other villains.
His name's Crow. He's one of the lead
Yeah,
deviants.
and-
doing some homework.
And it
on
would have
him.
been
He's
awesome. Now,
really
I
cool.
will say this. There was one thing, and I know you guys didn't really agree with me, but I thought the best person on that entire cast was Angelina Jolie. And I'll tell you why. As an actor, I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay.
She is a far and above one of the most gorgeous people in the world. And she's also one of the most recognizable actresses on the planet
For
of
sure.
all time.
For sure.
Of all time.
Yeah.
If you asked anybody who Angelina Jolie is, they'll tell you who she is.
Right.
She did an amazing job at taking a back seat and letting the other people in this movie shine. And
That's a
that
good
made her
point.
shine. So in the moments that we got with her, she was acting and it was good. And you were like, yes, I'm so
She was definitely
curious.
acting.
I'm curious about Thena's character. Like she keeps having these memories
I wish
of
she would have been
over and
able
over
to
and
do
over
more.
again.
I wish she would have been able to do more, and that is a part of the detriment of having so many characters that you have to
Right,
introduce.
but she did an amazing job at not stealing the spotlight from the other younger actors in the movie, and I
Yeah.
give an immense amount of kudos to her.
Yeah.
I thought Cersei's character, I thought she was so bland. I thought the way she portrayed Cersei was so bland. It was a lot of like pouting, and then there was a point where she
I feel like that was Icarus. That's how I
Well,
felt about Icarus.
He was,
him
he was
too.
good at that too.
Oh, Diet Superman?
Yes, Diet Super.
Yeah, Diet Superman.
Okay.
Okay, so
Nice.
we're going crazy on like bad things right now. I will say for me, the fight scenes with Icarus and the Deviants, I thought they were cool.
Top notch, dude.
I
Yeah,
had
they
a
looked
lot
good.
of fun watching.
Yeah, no, those were fun.
The CG of this, in my personal opinion, was
fantastic.
really good. It was a
Yeah.
beautiful movie. And the way that they did scale, like when you see them talking to a Celestial and they're just so tiny and you see this big, gigantic Airsham the Judge, and just seeing the scale and how they're able to accomplish that, to me, was just amazing.
And that's great, but the story itself
Correct.
was not good.
Correct.
And the only
Salma
person,
Hayek was
the only
underused.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And the only character that they had any sort of like continuity or explanation for how he was able to be who he was for thousands of years was Kingo, was that his name? Or
Mhm.
Kinga?
Kingo.
Kingo.
He was the only one. He explained that, no, I've been the same guy the whole time. But
Been
that's
my dad,
but
my
everyone says it's
grandfather.
my great grandfather, my father, and now me.
Right.
I was like, oh, that totally explains how he's able to live a life. But we see Cersei as a teacher, and I know if you're going to be a teacher, you have to do background checks and do all these things. And I just don't understand how anyone could have a job like that and live a life for thousands of years. And not only that, but each Eternal let everybody know in their world that they were an Eternal.
Yeah.
I thought the point of being an Eternal was making sure that people didn't know that they were going to be Eternals.
It went like a witness protection program.
Yeah.
type of
So,
thing.
but like,
Yeah.
but like the Kingo's assistant knew
Favorite
he was an
character.
Eternal.
Favorite character. He's my
Dane knew
favorite character.
Cersei was an Eternal.
Afterwards, after she blew up a bus into,
she turned into some
Flowers.
flowers.
Sure.
she had to explain a little something after that.
Yeah.
So there's just all this, and then
You're
like,
a wizard.
and then the Druid was a cool. I thought
I
he was
liked
such a
him
cool
a lot,
character,
dude. I liked
but he
him.
wasn't used enough, man.
Right, of course.
He just wasn't
But you
used
couldn't.
enough.
You can't do a movie with 10 different characters. It would have been atrocious if they tried to
the
do 12.
worst character in this movie was Sprite.
Oh my
She
God.
was
Yeah.
so underdeveloped.
Yeah, pretty
and
annoying.
So just like
All
kind of
over the
there, here,
place,
there.
yeah.
It was such a mess.
So
This
that-
could have been a Disney Plus show that we get 6 hours of content, because you know they had 6 hours of content.
They had more,
There's
I'm
there's
sure.
there was the writers confirmed at the world premiere that he had 9 different endings,
Right.
9 alternate like post credit scenes. One of them featuring a younger Thanos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like.
That
Couldn't
would have
we
been
do
cool.
that? And then there were like 20 different flashbacks that they had for the movie, but they couldn't fit it all in here. And I'm like,
right. Even in all of the commercial
Yep.
stuff, there was
the commercial spots weren't even used. In
there
the
were
movie.
tons of fights of Thena, like with all of those
Yep.
like those blue, like, you know, the material she's fighting through. I thought looked gorgeous. Didn't use it. So I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that they didn't use, and like I agree with you. It could have been used in a Disney Plus special, series. There's a lot of bad things about the movie. We're trying to go around the room and say what's your least favorite Marvel movie, and I can't say that that's it.
This is in the top 3 for me.
Okay.
Or bottom 3.
Or bottom 3. These are in the bottom 3. This one is one of the bottom 3 for me.
I would say I don't like either the first or second Thor. Iron Man 3.
I really enjoyed the first Thor.
So did I.
There's a couple more that are just like definitely worse.
I think as far as
Captain
Dark
Marvel.
World's pretty bad.
Dark World's horrible.
Dark World, Iron Man 3, and this are all in the same ballpark for me. I think where this starts to fall apart is it just didn't have the time, and certain characters like Sprite, she and it's different for people. I think different people. I think Nikita kind of disagrees in the chat. He likes Sprite, which to each their own.
Right.
I feel like her motivations and what she does in the movie doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They're like,
well, neither does having a deaf Eternal, like
and
he
at
was
one
saying. And I
point-
think you were trying to say covering all the grounds. I get it. You need to have this, that, or the other. But like, you're supposed to be this all-powering
Yeah.
God forever. Why do you have this?
At one point, they're like, Sprite. Are we gonna get in? Do we want to get into spoilers? Do we want to?
We have to.
Spoiler alert,
Listen, if you
spoiler
haven't
warning,
seen the
you
movie
haven't
yet,
seen it.
It's been
come
a long
on,
time.
it's been a week.
All
So if
right.
you watch the show, we talk about movies that we've seen.
All right,
Okay,
so-
I digress.
So, Sprite in the movie, they're like,
okay,
at one point, like about 2/3 of the way through the movie, Kingo, the Kumail Nanjiani character, is like, "Oh, Sprite, you're like Wendy, or you're like
Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell
Mm-hmm.
loves Peter but can't because of Wendy." And then she's like, "Sprite loves Icarus." I was like, "Bro, since when?"
Yeah,
what,
no.
What? And the movie does this where it says, it does it a lot of times where it says, this is how it is because we're telling you it's how it is.
Right.
Not because we're showing you.
Right.
Not for a single second did I believe that Sprite loved Icarus.
No,
And when she
at all.
ran off with him at the end, I'm like, oh, she's going to betray him and help them.
Of
And
course.
then she stabs Cersei in the back. I
Yeah, I
was
was
like,
like,
what the?
That
what?
came so
The
out of left
motivation
field.
there makes no sense at all. And
Absolutely
then at the
not.
end, Cersei's just like, oh, no, we're cool. I'm going to turn you into a real boy or whatever.
A real boy.
You're a real boy.
I would have turned her into like
I don't think that
peanut
this
butter and
was.
jelly sandwich or something.
I don't think this movie was bad. I don't think it was a very good MCU movie.
If you didn't have Marvel on the beginning of this movie,
I would never have watched
and
this.
You probably wouldn't have seen it.
okay, but it would
I
just
wouldn't have watched it.
it would just be a weird sci-fi movie. You know what I mean? Like there's like a big alien and then like some small little AIs and they're running around.
Okay, well, you brought it up. You're talking about Chloe Zhao directing Eternals, right? So that
Right.
she's going to be directing the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
We heard about that earlier this week.
Right.
Is that
Does-
confirmed? Is that
does-
really
Yeah,
happening?
That's happening.
It's happening.
So
I don't think the problem was her.
is this going to like make you walk into that movie like
No, because they were
me
trying to do
either.
too much.
It was.
Yeah.
I thought that was the problem, though, Donovan. I thought it was too ambitious. The
It was
movie,
super
the
ambitious.
movie was too ambitious. They take risks,
Yeah.
and this whole
They took a big old swing and they missed. in
everything
my
about,
opinion.
but everything
Yeah.
about Phase 4 has been kind of received like, I'm not sure. Everything, all the series
Yeah.
that we've
Except
seen, the movies
Loki.
we've seen.
Loki was
Not
the
Loki.
exception.
Loki's universally, everybody's kind of been on board with
Yeah,
Loki,
for
but
sure.
everybody's had something to pick apart as far as the other movies and
Yeah.
the other
Movies
series.
and shows for sure.
And I think that I think that what the bigger issue with the MCU and maybe just this phase and this whole cinematic universe going forward is that people may be experiencing Marvel fatigue, and we might have a Thanos problem.
Because how do you follow him up?
It's hard.
I think Kang is the answer to that.
Kang
Oh,
is such a good
Let's start putting him in other stuff. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for
just
sure.
get chat involved a little bit. Nikita is saying like he was talking about how at the bar when in the very beginning when Sprite like the guy touches him and her arm fades away and you see him trying to connect. For Nikita, that worked for him. He got the idea that she wanted to be in love and didn't. But for me, that didn't make me feel like she wanted to be in love with Icarus. That just made me feel like she was lonely. At no point
Yeah,
was
I
I
was
like,
just like-
oh, it's Icarus.
I was like,
You know
oh,
what I
she's
mean?
young. She's just using her powers to like be hanging out at the club.
You think
This-
about for thousands of years though that you're stuck as like
Yeah.
a 14 or 15-year-old girl.
And it doesn't
No,
have
that
any
would
That
suck.
you're not being taken seriously.
Oh, that would suck.
They're still always looking at her as a kid, even though she's like thousands of years old.
And
Right.
I think one of the biggest problems this movie runs into, because to be honest, the individual characters interacting with each other, I enjoyed a lot of. Kingo was a lot of fun. Fastos was a lot of fun.
Fastos was my favorite character.
Fastos was
Icarus,
super cool.
watching Icarus like brood and like just be super like powerful was fun for me.
I liked him.
I didn't
liked
mind a lot of the characters. I don't think they were able to. I don't think I really felt for them when one of them died. I didn't really feel anything. But the biggest problem in universe this runs into is the Celestials' plan makes no sense, and the reason for them not allowing the Eternals to intervene makes no sense.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, the population on Earth is what affects the Celestial being cooked in the Earth
Like
or
the
whatever,
growth,
right?
right.
And they're like, well, we didn't want you to be involved because unless it was deviants. But the only reason we want you to take care of the deviants is so they don't thin out the population. What was Thanos doing? What did Thanos literally do to
split
Earth?
it.
He thinned out the population.
So he delayed the incubation
So why would the
period
Celestials
of,
not go, oh,
what was
this
his
guy's
name?
going to delay our
Tiamat?
Celestial, go freaking kill him? Why would they not do that?
Unless it was involving with time and all that kind of stuff. I think if once he had the stones and the gauntlet, they couldn't.
Why would they not have her stop them in the first place? They had to have known what he was doing.
Yeah.
Because
And-
they didn't consider him a deviant.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the fact that the Celestials were like, you're only allowed to fight deviants because they thin out populations. That doesn't make sense.
I'm with you, man.
100%. That
doesn't make any
doesn't make any
sense.
sense.
I think it was just supposed to happen, and just like the same way, like the TVA let Tony come up with time travel, it was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? There's certain rules that they just let happen. I guess. Also, it's a Marvel movie. You know, there's
Yeah,
gonna like to me, my biggest issue is like the power scaling in this whole thing. Like, same thing. Like, how are you able to just shut off? You can't let anybody interfere with anything. Or at the end, Druig was like, I'm contemplating taking control of everyone's mind on the Earth to be.
And
I'm
the
like, how are
movie
you
also,
gonna do that?
maybe they would have more time to develop their characters if they trusted their audience. At the end of the movie, there's a part where Cersei turns like a deviant into a tree, which was kind of cool. And it's like, oh, she can manipulate sentient life now.
Right.
And it's like, why? Well, because she believed in herself. Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. The
And-
power scaling, dude.
But at the end, they're talking about this hive mind thing, like, or mega
Unimind.
Unimind,
Unimind.
mega mind.
Mega Mind.
It's a fun movie. And they're talking about it a little beforehand, what they're gonna do, and then she does literally what they talked about. And then Fastos looks at her at the end and goes, "Oh my God, what did you do?" And it's because they didn't trust their audience to
Right.
just understand what happened. I watched it. I go, "Oh, she turned the celestial. She used the Unimind
Right.
and turned the celestial into stone."
Right.
But the movie didn't trust its audience, and they spend an extra minute and a half, 2 minutes, going, "Oh, what happened? I did this. Oh, you did that. I did that. I still have a little power left over. Let me turn it." I'm like, I'm not stupid. You
Right.
don't need to spell it out for me. You don't need to hold my hand and walk me through the whole movie.
But there are some people watching this movie that aren't Marvel fanatics. There aren't comic book fans
Yeah,
that
and not
that
comic book
don't-
readers.
Yeah, but
even
I don't-
that are watching it. It's
Even
like,
if-
what's this movie? I see this cool poster. I'm gonna go watch the movie.
The
you
few
know?
people I've talked to who don't read comics have tended to agree with me. They're like, yeah, I got what happened.
Right.
You don't have to read comics to understand that, oh, they were talking about the tree thing earlier, and she did that to that.
Right.
And they used the Unimind to escalate her power. I don't know that because I read comics. I know that because I watched
Because I watched the movie.
said it, sure.
Right. Oh.
Because you were there for 2.5
Right,
hours.
exactly.
If
Because they were
they made
explaining everything else in the whole movie.
If they made the movie, if they had made the movie shorter, because the movie it was as of right now, it's the second longest MCU film.
Right.
If they had made the movie shorter and included less Eternals, do you think it would have been received better?
So
Yes, dude. Yes.
I think Chad is kind of arguing a little bit about it in the chat.
Guys,
Who is
settle
the-
down in there.
Who is the villain in this movie? And would a solid, identifiable villain have made it better? Who's the villain?
Yeah, you got Crow, you got Icarus, you got, like there's different
Arishem. Who?
Arishem could be the villain. It is all over the place. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's Rotten Tomatoes rotten.
I don't think it's a 5 out of 10, which is what it is on Rotten Tomatoes.
I do.
I don't.
And that's the thing. Everybody's going to feel
I
a different
do.
way because if you go into this thinking, okay, I'm just going to watch this as a Marvel movie and take it in, and I'm not going to just dissect everything that happens. It's
We
a
can't
cool
do that
movie.
anymore.
It's a cool movie.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah, but we don't do that anymore when we go watch these movies.
Yeah.
No, no,
And
no.
We connect all the dots.
No. I have a
to
note.
it.
I have a notepad like on my iPhone as soon as the movie starts. I'm like, okay, who did they add? They just add Shang-Chi into the Marvel beginning, the Marvel
Yeah, and
credits.
on the opening credits.
in
yeah.
the opening credits. So like little things like that, I'm catching on. Anybody else is like, why does that matter? And I'm like, it matters.
Yeah, because he's part of the MCU now. But
I don't think what's it called? I just lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Donovan.
that's right.
He's like, that's all right, I didn't.
This movie, again, I think it should have been a Disney Plus show, and I think
I agree.
if because we could have there was a point in the movie where they talked about Excalibur. Like, what a perfect opportunity to talk about Excalibur and the Black Knight. That was all the lineage that leads into that.
That was a perfect little nudge, though, because when she said, she was like, "Is that the Ebony Blade?"
That's my thing.
And she's like, "No, it's Excalibur."
That's my thing, though. It was a nudge. All we got was a nudge.
Just a nudge, though.
But here's the thing: this movie got me so heated, dude. I'm really disappointed in this movie, and I'm really disappointed at the decision makers who are saying, "Yep, this is going to be the thing that gets you going for the next movie." Spoiler alert if you haven't seen this movie in the post-credit scene yet, but there are 2 post-credit scenes. The first one is...
Mute your computer right now.
Or whatever. Is Eros, a.k.a. Star Fox, a.k.a. Harry Styles, who comes in as, he's Thanos' brother. And
didn't I say he was going to be somebody? I said it 2 shows ago.
You did it, man.
I know. You ruined that scene for us.
Brought to you by Truly.
So we get him.
Shout out, Sonny.
And Eros, as a character, is not anyone that's super extravagant in the MCU.
Dude.
He's a guy who, how do I say this? Has a proclivity to draw women in with his words.
Yeah. Anybody really.
Shout out Philip Kennedy Johnson in the chat. What's up, man?
Hey,
yo, what's up?
Hi, buddy. So I think, I don't know. Maybe if Phil wrote this, this would have been better. I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't want to take any credit away from
it was just
all the
not
hard work the
enough
writers
time to develop all the characters.
So much. There was so much. You're talking about 7,000 years of them on Earth. And I just thought things like that, we could have had a whole Excalibur episode and it would have explained who Kit Harington's character was and his lineage and who his uncle is, who, by the way, is a very evil guy.
Yeah, bad guy.
In the MCU. So him taking on that mantle of the Black Knight is a big deal.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my second point. The second post-credits,
my favorite
the
one.
mid-credit
This was my
scene and then
favorite
the
one.
post-credit scene.
This was my favorite one.
This was one of my least favorite ones.
Oh!
I'm serious. I don't know what is going on at Marvel, but they are not doing the formula in which they did before. And I think you might be right. I think we are getting Marvel fatigue from this. It's like,
it's just like too much stuff.
So in the final post-credit scene, we see Dean going up to the Ebony Blade, opening it up. Dane, not Dean, sorry. Dane going up there, and he goes to touch the Ebony Blade, and the Ebony Blade does this weird like vibration thing, and it
starts
calls
to react
him
towards him.
And we hear a voice saying, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" or something to that nature.
You're sure you're ready for that.
Yeah, you sure you're ready for that? And we find out that it's Mahershala Ali as Blade. We only hear his voice.
And me and Donovan completely disagree on this.
What makes us go back to Marvel movies? It's when we see a character for a split second in those post-credit scene, and we go, "Ah!
I think
so. I'm telling you, if we saw, and I know it's
that is exactly how I sound.
It's Blade. We all know it's Blade.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it have been more effective as opposed to a voice to see him just? We hear his voice, and then does a quick switch pan over.
You see the sunglasses.
And we see his sunglasses and him smile, and we see one of his canines sharp. Oh my God! That would have been amazing. Not this. Are you sure you're ready for this? And people going, "Who was this?" We have to find out on the internet who this was.
They don't have his character.
Yeah, but I
it's
think
the Red Bull. Jesus,
I really enjoyed it. And people are gonna Google what the sword was, anyways. People are gonna be Googling stuff.
Yeah, dude.
But they showed us the sword.
People don't know what that is.
I know.
As soon as I heard the voice,
they're gonna show Blade, and there's still gonna be people who don't know who Blade is.
I heard the voice, and I knew it was Mahershala Ali.
I thought it was Jeffrey
Kevin
Wright.
Feige.
But
Feige.
what was I gonna say? By the way, Philip Kennedy Johnson would write a dope Black Knight and Blade crossover.
Hell yeah,
agreed.
And I feel like he would like to do that too.
Yeah, I bet you that's in his wheelhouse for sure.
I didn't know it was Blade till just now, so I had no clue.
Yeah,
really?
I had no clue.
That's what I'm saying.
But for me, I didn't. But you were still like, "Ooh, who's that?" I'm interested.
No, because I had no idea.
All right, well,
care.
fair.
I didn't
Donovan
care.
makes Donovan's point.
It does seem odd that they're gonna use that as the transitional phase to get Mahershala Ali's Blade character. And why is he with the Black Knight? There must
Blade
be
is
something.
British.
Well, okay,
And that's why he's in England.
Yeah.
but it could be whatever vampire or something is gonna be involved. But that's an interesting choice of
I love that
of
team
a
up.
vehicle
Yeah.
to use
To introduce him.
Right.
We're going to get into our favorite post-credit scene here in a second, and Frank's
Yeah.
going to quarterback this one. But I'll say this. Do you remember the first time we saw Thanos at the end of the first Avengers movie? us comic book geeks went, no way.
Yes.
But the rest of the people who aren't comic book nerds went,
Who's this
who
purple
is that?
dude?
And I had to lean over and go, so this is Thanos. Thanos is a guy from Titan, and he does this, and he's defending. And they were like, oh my gosh, they're gonna like totally set this up. I went, yes. So when you get a guy like Blade, and all you do is hear his voice, you get people go, who is that? And then you have another person who goes, I have no idea who that was, and I've watched and read everything. And then you're gonna get some savants who know voices. Like the Rain Man or something. He was like, yeah, definitely Marshall Holly, definitely Blade, definitely Blade. Like
that was me.
That's
literally,
Sonny.
Philip Kennedy Johnson said it would be fun to write a Blade Black Knight.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So for me, just show us a clip of it. Just show
But
us something.
I'm sure they don't even have any idea what his costume design looks like. They don't even know
There's been no production done yet.
There's zero
this.
production on this. Even if they gave him sunglasses and a trench coat with a sword, I'd be like,
I think the biggest thing is Kit Harington in an interview about a week ago said, I didn't know it was Blade until just then because he wasn't on set.
Right.
And he hadn't.
He
they
filmed
didn't shoot
it and they
anything
just
with him.
added in the
they
voice.
ADR'd it. All they told Kit Harington in the scene
like,
was
show
like,
up,
but
act
I have
surprised.
been proven wrong because Quan was like, oh, I don't know, I didn't care. But for me, I can only
He was
speak for
gonna say that
myself.
anyway.
In the
Yeah, I was gonna
theater,
say that's a fact.
I really enjoyed it. I watched it, and I'm super hyped for the Black Knight. He's one of my favorite
so
characters.
am I love this.
And for me, the scene was about the Black Knight. I'm like, oh yes, the Ebony Blade. I got to see it. That's super cool. And then the voice comes across. I'm like, wait, what? Did I get more from this scene? Who was that? I thought it was Jeffrey Wright. I thought it was like the Watcher. And I was like,
it was
oh,
like
that's...
the Watcher from What If.
And then
like,
I googled
casting
it, and
him in
it's
as
it's
a new
Blade.
one.
I'm like, oh, that's super cool. That's gonna be a dope team up. So for me,
but
I loved it.
Had you not Googled it and you saw Blade, do you think you would have been more excited
No.
if you saw him?
I think finding out at whatever point would have been just as fun. For me.
I think
man.
for me, I think the only reason I was so stoked because I
And I
recognized
can only
the
speak
voice.
for myself. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, for sure.
Right. And for me, I recognized the voice, so I connected the image of what I think Mahershala Ali Blade would look like saying that.
And one more thing, Frank, you've been real quiet this episode, and I want to know why. What the hell's going on over there, pal?
I think that if they had shown Blade right off the bat, there would have still been people saying, "Who's that?"
Who's that, dude?
Okay.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
Unless they dress him up, make him look like Wesley Snipes' Blade that everybody
And
knows.
my argument, which I feel like has kind of been debunked, I'm going
But
to
it
say
has
it anyway,
you guessing right now at this point.
was that everyone knows
falling, buddy?
more people
Sinking.
know who Blade is than people who knew Thanos. Are you all right?
I'm good.
Who knew Thanos was when he was in the post-credit scene
For sure.
because Wesley Snipes was Blade, and because he has that backstory of movies. Now a lot of people know who Blade is. Nobody knew who Thanos was, so you kind of had to show him. You couldn't just do a voice and be like, "What?" You had to show him. For
Right.
this, it's like you can Google it. Like you're not going to Google it and go, "Who was the voice?" Let's say they don't show Thanos, they just show his voice. You Google it and you go, "Thanos." You go, "Who is that?"
right.
You just hear the voice, you Google it, you see Blade, you go, "Oh, that's Blade." Everyone knows who Blade is.
Right.
Sure.
Everyone knows who
Pop
Blade is because of
culture-wise.
Wesley Snipes and his character in that one. So I feel like, and again, I've said this like 3 times now, I think I've been proven wrong, but I think that accomplishes the same thing. But
I was more excited for Black Knight than I was Blade's voice. And I think if you're going to do that, just stick for it being Black Knight and him going to touch, like maybe he stumbles back and then he goes forward and goes to touch it. We see him barely touch it, cut.
I don't know, because it just made me so much, because that's why, like I said, that's why I was super excited, because I'm like, Black Knight, he's one of my favorite Marvel characters. I just got the first trade of the newest Black Knight from Spurrier.
Sick.
And he's so cool. He leads the Avengers. He's Steve Rogers when Steve Rogers isn't around.
Sick.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's
Yeah,
the man.
he becomes, like, the leader of the
He is
Avengers.
the man.
Yeah, he's
And I'm
awesome.
like, that's super duper cool. Can't wait to see him. And then I hear the
Nice.
voice. I'm like, whoa.
Okay,
and then I find out who the team up is, and I'm like, that's brilliant. And it's not something that's really
super
been done.
badass,
Not even
dude.
in the comics.
That's super badass.
That's fine. I just think they should have shown Blade. Now, what if it wasn't Blade's voice that we heard, but it was his uncle's voice that we heard that said, "Are you sure you're ready for this?"
But like, they got to show a character though, because I'm like, who's this uncle dude behind the camera saying, "Are you ready for this?"
I know, but if you don't read comic books, you're still going to ask that question.
I guess.
I think the uncle thing is better thing to kind of flesh out in like whatever Black Knight's going to be in, because that's super interesting. So to give some people kind of a background of the comic books, the Ebony Blade has 3 main users throughout time. It's Dane Whitman's great-great-grandfather, who is a knight at the Round Table. He is
Of
the
King
Black
Arthur,
Knight.
yes.
He has the Ebony Blade, while King Arthur has Excalibur, and his great-great-grandfather does things for good. And the big thing with the Ebony Blade is, if every time it draws blood, it drives the user a little bit more mad.
Right.
Or there's a theory that if you use it for the right reasons, you don't go mad.
Right.
And I'm not exactly sure on the history of his great-grandfather with it, but his uncle started off as a good guy
And went
went
way
crazy.
Crazy.
And then at the end, like of his life cycle with the blade, he gave it to Dane and was like, please do better with this than I have. And Dane and I can't wait to see that play out in the movies.
I'm stoked to see like
Or
what kind of
Cho.
costume they give him, because it would be really cool if they did some kind of
I want a comic accurate Black Knight.
if they did some kind of nods to
So sick.
to his last wear as the Knight in Black in Game of Thrones. I think it's the coolest thing
Oh, jeez.
that he ends up being the Black Knight, and he's the last time we saw him, he was donning the black.
He tells him that the next time I see you, you'll be dressed
in black. I think it's the coolest thing. It's just a little nod, you know. I mean,
Winter is coming.
yeah, it's so good, dude. It's so good.
Okay, well, we were talking about post-credit scenes, and I wanted to go around the room real quick and get your top 3 post-credit scenes from, we'll just do the MCU.
Okay.
What are your top 3 all-time post-credit scenes, Sonny?
I think just because it was one of the first that I remember, the shawarma scene when everybody's sitting down eating, and you see after the big fight, you know that, you know, the team up is going to be back and all that kind of stuff. It was super cool. My number 1 that I think is probably going to be around the table, I'm glad I got here first, is the introduction of Thanos. When he turns around.
Sorry, I just read the chat, and Alonzo said everyone heard that voice and knew it wasn't a white dude.
No, it's facts. I knew it was Mahershala Ali, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, that just made me laugh so hard.
No, you're good. And then my second favorite is when Thanos is pissed and he's like, you know what? Like, screw it, I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself.
And you see the gauntlet, and then for a lot of people, they're like, what's this golden glove? What's happening? And for me, I'm like, oh, it's on. Like, it's all the way on. So a lot of it has to do with Thanos, and maybe that's kind of what we were talking about. How do you one up this guy that has been, you know, in the shadows this whole time, and they put him out in this movie?
Yeah.
They're going to try. with Kang.
Philip Kennedy Johnson just asked in the chat, is his voice, does he have a British accent in the scene? No, he doesn't have a British accent. He's American, but the scene takes place in England, which I think is a little bit of a nod to the fact that he's British in the comics.
Yeah.
So my top 3. Number 3 is the Incredible Hulk. When
That one
General
was cool.
Ross is sitting in the bar and Tony Stark walks in and
That was a
busts
cool one.
his balls and then says, "We got a team we're putting together."
I
And
like
then it
that
cuts to black.
Right.
Number 2 is Thanos at the end of the first Avengers movie, because I think that, come on, that was awesome. And then number 3 is the very first Iron Man movie. When I saw Nick Fury, and when I heard him say, "I am Iron Man," and he turned around and had that eye patch on, I'm not even kidding. I almost lost everything that was in me. I go, oh my God, they're doing it.
They're doing it. Yeah.
They're doing it. And then several years later, I saw on YouTube what it was originally going to be, and they were like mutants, spiders. Also, I was like, oh my God, they were throwing.
They were going to go hard at
everything.
it.
But the fact that they introduced Shield at the end, when he said strategic homeland and went into the whole thing, I was sitting with my buddy. I forget who I was. I think it was with my buddy Chase, and he goes, "Oh my!" And he grabs my arm, and I went, "What?" He goes, "Just look at that acronym," and I went, "Oh, it's Shield."
Yeah, dude.
And then when he said, and then when Clark Gregg, Agent
Coulson
says
man.
it at the end, we changed it to Shield. I went, "Oh, that's so cool! Yeah, all right, we got Shield." And then when Nick Fury showed up, I was like, "Oh my God, they're doing it!
They're doing it.
They're getting the band back together." I thought it was amazing. So those are my top 3.
What's up, Paul?
So my top 3 are, there's a lot of crossover. My top 3 are, first and foremost, the original Thanos one, where he just turns and smirks at the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's-
holy schmoly, that's freaking the schmo.
That's the man.
That's that dude. And then the very, very first one, where Nick Fury's in the thing, the one that made us all go, oh my gosh, it's happening.
Yep.
They're
That's where
doing a
it's
connected
like
universe. It's
I
happening.
got to stay after credits for movies from now on.
And that one's too iconic to not be in the list. And then I have 2 for my third one. One is kind of recency bias, is the Blade Black Knight one. I really love that. I love both of those characters, and I'm excited to see them together.
Yeah.
But Baron Mordo, Baron Mordo is one of the
That was a
coolest-
really good one.
He is one of the coolest
was on my
bad
list.
guys in the entire
That was on my
comic.
list, dude.
And his motivations make sense. He's like,
He takes the power
He's
back,
like-
bro. Oof.
even in the comics, he's like, nah, we're not using this. I want magic out.
Yeah.
This is unnatural, and I'm only using mine to get rid of it.
Right.
And the fact that we're going to see more of that come to fruition in the Multiverse of Madness, I don't want Baron Mordo to be a throwaway character in that. He is one of the best villains in comics.
I
and I am
agree.
played by one of the best actors in Hollywood.
Agree.
I'm not going to try to say his name because I always mispronounce it. And- Yeah, that guy. So after we saw the movie and I thought it was Jeffrey Wright, the voice, Frank texted me and said it was Mashed Potato Ali. I don't know if it was a typo or I knowing Frank, it probably wasn't a typo.
Mahershala.
It was a typo.
But with a
He's
wink.
like, wait.
Something wrong with your eye? You get something in your eye,
yeah.
there, Frank?
But that scene is so
Mashed
cool.
potato.
And it's gotten me so excited to see the next thing with Baron Mordo. And the only reason I don't think more people talk
Yeah.
about it is because we haven't seen the next step of Mordo yet.
Right.
And we will.
And he's out there going hard right now.
He's just as powerful as Doctor Strange.
Yes,
And,
and
we're
a
gonna
lot of
see them
people do
throw
not
down.
understand that he's going around taking a lot of people out. But Frank, what you got?
So number 3, I mean, you guys have already mentioned it, was the original. Was the first time that you see Nick Fury,
Yeah.
saying this shows in the Avengers Initiative, and he's
course.
starting to recruit
Right.
Tony Stark. That was probably number 3 for me. Number 2, actually, Cameron. Shout out to Cameron, who's back in the United States.
What a baby.
He mentioned my number 2. Number 2 was from Ant-Man and the Wasp when they show them disintegrate.
Mhm.
He's stuck in the quantum realm.
That was pretty cool.
That gives you like chills.
It gives
It's
me
like,
anxiety.
oh man, he's
That
stuck.
is a very good
You
one.
know,
That gives me anxiety,
That one
dude.
was great because I remember the I saw it. You know, we see all these movies opening night, but we saw it opening night. I was sitting with all the people, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh!" Like you hear
Yeah.
people like actually gasping
Yeah.
in the theater
Because they're like, what are
I-
you going to do? What's he going to do? How long is he going to be in there? What's
Dude.
going to happen?
I
after
had a
this?
feel. I remember going into the movie. I was like, I think to my wife, I said, I think they're gonna like some of our favorite characters. I think they're all gonna get snapped.
Oh, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
And she was like, yeah, I think you might be right. And then when he got trapped in the quantum realm, I went, oh, so they're brilliant. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
and
Loophole.
my number 1 is the first time that you see Thanos. It's just
That's the
him, like,
one.
courting death itself, and he just kind of like glares over, like you're like, oh, and then you're with a bunch of people in the theater at the time. We're like, who that?
is this?
Who is that?
And
Yeah.
that's the coolest part because even, watching Eternals, almost said Celestials, watching the Celestials, everybody like that gets up early and walks away, you're like, have you not
Where
read
the
anything?
F are you going?
Do you know what I
bruh?
shout?
They
Do
haven't
you know
learned it after
I-
20 films.
My friend
Yo.
Doug and I, we shout this when people do this. We go, what are you new here?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Every time.
Because you automatically know something's going to happen pretty soon after the music, and then you wait. You wait until the lights come on. And usually the second one
Is the
is
better
the
one,
one.
yeah.
You know
Should
what I
I
mean?
wait until
Which-
they're dusting up popcorn?
You know what?
That's when I wait.
I kind of like some people are like, I don't like having to sit in the theater. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I kind of like the post-credit scene is also a vehicle to get you to read the people's names in the credits and I'll see all the hard work that went into this and how many.
Absolutely.
And
No,
honestly,
you're right.
it I was looking at the CGI and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, wow, there's a huge team behind this, and it's really cool. Like you just said,
Yeah.
like you recognize them, and it gives the watcher,
Yep.
like you said, a vehicle to just sit there and like appreciate everybody's hard work that went through this.
Because you know the grip, one of the grips who works on that, every grip who worked on that, every set dresser, every makeup guy, they're watching that movie with their family when it comes out. And
Waiting
they're
for
waiting
that-
to see their
that
name in
one
the credits,
thing.
and they're
That's
gonna
right.
see everyone still sitting in the theater who's reading their name. I think that's cool.
That's really
It's kind of
cool.
like it's a very tangential thing, but
That's
it's
really
super
cool.
cool.
It could have been an over-course correction, but when you see the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we had like 5 post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
They went like overboard.
Yeah, they did.
James Gunn's like, hey, I was going to put this in here too.
There's
This
all
one,
kind of, yeah, they
this
had a
one.
bunch of extra
But
footage.
James Gunn can get away with
He
that,
can.
though. He's a
He
brilliant
can.
writer in that sense
If
of
you
like,
did that with every Marvel movie, though, people would
people would
be
be
like,
like, that's
what
a
are you
lot of
doing, bro?
information.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about the post credits things again in Mordo. I think we have a very Loki Thor thing that is going to happen with Mordo and
Did
Doctor
you say
Strange.
low key Thor
No,
thing or
low
Loki Thor
key,
thing?
yo.
Okay, great.
Loki.
Oh.
Like
Just
the
wanna make sure.
relationship between Mordo and Doctor Strange is going to be incredibly dynamic.
Yeah.
Mordo mentored him. He made him become the person he was.
Yeah, now
He-
he's the Sorcerer Supreme,
And then he
he's
saw
like,
what Doctor Strange was going to do to stop Dormammu, and Mordo was like, man, we're doing all the things we're saying they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And you understand where Mordo's, and that's what helped make Thanos so incredible. Was
Yeah.
you understood where he was coming from, even if you didn't agree.
I
With
agree.
Killmonger, you
Yeah.
understood
With
where he was
all
coming
of-
from,
right.
And that is Baron Mordo to a
Compelling,
T.
compelling.
And who knows
character.
what Mordo is going to be after the not just the multiverse of madness, but after No Way Home, because he does another thing that totally
And I
screws up
hope-
everything in the
True.
multiverse happens.
I hope
more-
they don't kill him, and he helps fight Kang.
oh my
Oh,
God, that
I
would
was
be
going to
so
say
fun.
that that we have all these potential characters that are going to be included in the Doctor Strange sequel. That you're hoping that Mordo gets his service, like Paul's mentioned, is that it's not just something that they throw in the end of the third act,
Right.
or something that he actually does get his service, because he's a fantastic actor. They've got really good on-screen chemistry,
he's
and
in a
you'd
bunch
like
of
to
movies.
see him have his shine, so to speak,
Yeah.
in
Agreed.
whether it be No Way Home, whether it be Multiverse of Sadness, whatever it is going forward. If there's potentially a Doctor Strange part 3,
So Nikita is asking in the chat about Disney Plus Day and what we're expecting. Gonna throw it in here now because Nikita asked. We will be live tomorrow at what time, Frank?
probably about 9 p.m. Pacific.
About 9 p.m. Pacific, and we are going to be going over all things Disney
9 p.m.
Plus. So Nikita,
Disney
if you
Plus.
want to chat it up with
You're gonna
us
get
then tomorrow,
plusified.
everyone come get plusified tomorrow at 9 o'clock with us. We're going live on a
Gotta make-
Friday. What is this? Who
I
are
can
we?
tell you.
We're calling it Into the West After Dark. No, we're not calling it that. That just sounds silly.
I can tell
It's
you,
not even a latest show.
as
we've
far
had.
as
Yeah, it's like-
time frame goes,
True.
everything is going to be online with the Plus. As far as their announcements and everything goes, I think everything will be done, announced by about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
So everybody will have their time to react and digest everything that's coming out. About 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Pixar is going to have a presentation, so we could see another Lightyear footage
Yeah,
or something.
more trailers.
Around 8:45, 9 o'clock, Marvel is going to have their presentation, and we
course.
think around 10 o'clock Pacific time, there's going to be a Star Wars announcement
Oof.
of some sort.
I cannot wait to get
Can
back
we-
into Star Wars stuff, dude.
Can we make a pact on this show tonight with our people watching and all of us here
We have
not
witnesses.
to watch one trailer or any footage or anything until tomorrow night live on the show, so we get our pure reactions from seeing this. Sonny, and I only say this to Sonny because he's the only one who can't
He's not
control
gonna be
himself when it comes to this. I am off frame. I'm so sorry, Quan. Sonny, can you, for one night, for one full day, not watch one damn thing until
you
the
guys do that.
show tomorrow night? I'm telling you,
Should I?
your
gonna
reactions
tell him?
are going to be
Not going to be here.
beautiful.
Go ahead,
Oh, that's
tell
right. You're not going to be here.
I was gonna say I'm gonna watch all of them.
Oh, Sonny has to work because he's getting that cheddar. Oh, dude.
I'm sorry, guys.
He's
I
getting
told
that beef
him.
and
I
cheddar.
told him to call out, and then Donovan's like, "No, get your money." I'm like, "Whatever."
I totally
I'm
forgot.
not gonna be here, guys.
Sonny, watch to your heart's content, but I swear to God, if you tell any of us,
I won't. Share to all your friends and family so that way our show grows and I don't have to work tomorrow. So
We're waiting. I'm waiting.
I'm going to wait.
I'm not
Mostly
gonna watch
because I'm
anything
working
until we
tomorrow
get
till
tomorrow.
And
about
that's another thing.
Yeah.
I have practice in the morning at 7. Then I go straight to work, and then I'll get out. I'll probably go home and take a nap because I'm gonna be tired, and then I'm gonna come here. I'm not gonna watch anything.
Yes.
I have a nap planned as well. Maybe
nap
a,
planned as well.
maybe a
Snacks.
maybe a cheese sandwich. And
cheese sandwich.
I went to get a bean and cheese burrito today. This is the inside stuff. This is the
Inside
life.
into the West.
Yeah.
IRL Frank blog coming
I
soon.
went and ordered the bean and cheese burrito today at a spot, a location here, and I got home and it was just a giant quesadilla. There's no beans.
Oh man, that's kind of depressing.
Kind of messed
But
up my
in,
day.
in the sense though,
Was
in
it
the
good,
sense
though?
though, in the sense
It was
though.
good still. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this has nothing to do with
You know what
any of
Eternals
the
felt
talk.
like? It felt like a bean and cheese burrito with no beans.
He said it was. He said it
Quan
was a
said
hot,
or
hot,
cheese.
hot tortilla.
Just 2 tortillas stuck together.
Dry as hell.
Everybody in the chat, I'd like to know. This has nothing to do with anything. Quesadilla or grilled cheese?
Grilled cheese.
Right?
Oh, it depends on the time of
I
year.
need
No.
I need
Grilled
that.
cheese.
I
Had
need
I
that
known I was getting a
bread.
quesadilla going into this,
You would have got a
I-
grilled cheese.
Sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have. Well,
You wouldn't
I was
have got
gonna
the
say,
quesadilla.
I wouldn't have been disappointed. I got my mouth all ready for bean and cheese burrito, and it was just a quesadilla. Killed it
Okay.
with hot sauce anyway.
Never
That's
heard of-
great.
I
Frank,
don't-
what
I don't-
else do we got going
I
on
don't
the
know if
show
I've ever
today?
heard the phrase. I got
Guys,
my mouth
Good
already.
Lord.
We're going to
we
transition from
rabbit trailed that
quesadilla
thing.
to leaks Adia.
Leaksadilla?
Earlier this week.
I have a hot take on
It's
this.
not your best work, but I
Not
like
your
it.
Earlier
strongest,
this
Frank.
week.
Here
I
we
have
are.
a hot take on this.
I got no beans in me. Earlier this week, you'll see. Earlier this week, we
missing
got
a
some. I guess they're pictures taken from the set of
Yeah, man.
No Way Home.
I've read all
It's
of
a lot
them.
of stuff that's been speculated. Spoiler warning for you guys. We don't want to ruin anything for you.
We're not.
We're not.
And
We're not.
A lot of the stuff that we've been hearing and seeing that we're probably going to be talking about has already been around the internet a lot, and
It's probably more confirmation of speculation, which I
that's
still don't.
all it
really
is.
wanna-
And Mr. Tinfoil Hat over here, I will admit I watch trailers early. I watch leaks, heavy spoilers.
We know.
Shout outs to heavy
I
spoilers.
think
It's one of my favorite channels.
me, like, there's a dynamic here. Frank and Donovan try to avoid it. If I run into it, I don't really care. Like, I'm not gonna seek it out. But
Right.
Sonny is
I
like,
go
where
looking
is it
for
at?
it. I go
Where's
looking
it at?
for it.
He's a bloodhound for the
wake up.
freaking.
Where is it? Where is the trailer?
I wake up and choose violence.
Where's the trailer?
Or Robert Pattinson, whatever he said in that trailer.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
It literally did sound
That was a
kind of
really
like
good
that.
Robert
It sounded
like-
wonky. Little ADR won't help that. Well, it's going to help that scene.
So
It sure will.
So, for confirmation, for anybody that's here that doesn't want to hear anything, we're not going to ruin anything. But there is, I mean, even we got the poster with the Green Goblin. There is a lot of Sinister Six,
Sinister grilled cheese.
Sinister grilled cheese sandwiches. Sinister Six. There's going to be a lot of them. Are you falling?
Do you want to switch chairs with
No,
me?
we're good.
Are you
We're about to wrap it up
falling
here,
for
so I'm good.
me?
Keep going.
There's going to be a few characters that we thought were supposed to be in here that are definitely going to be in. And there's one surprise that I don't know if we're ready for that might turn the tide for everything.
Maybe.
I'll just say that.
I like that. That's a good tease, Sonny. Say no more.
Like,
Boom.
that's it. So what
Donovan?
do you feel about the idea
What
of
has
this,
angered you?
this being the most it's going to be the craziest Marvel movie to date, the most expensive? Do you think it's going to hit the billion mark first?
Yes.
Donovan,
It's going to be a lot.
let it go. Let him know. Let him know how you feel.
I want everyone to look at my big, beautiful blue eyes when I say this.
Ooh,
They
all
are
of us?
beautiful.
Stop trying to find out what happens in a movie. I'm sinking.
That's crazy.
What happens in a movie
trying to
before
find
the
out.
movie comes out? You're ruining it for the rest of us. Stop it.
Just
Stop
go and enjoy the
trying to be
movie.
right about a theory that you might have. I'm okay with theories, but seeking it out to prove that you're right is disgusting. It makes me sick that people want to see this movie before the movie comes out, and then they go, "Oh, it's trash. Oh, it's going to be great." You don't know yet. You don't know what's going to happen in the movie, and these guys work tirelessly
hard.
to make sure that they're giving us a movie that we can really go, I had no idea that they were going to do that. So when people reveal spoilers or put out photos, I think there's a journalistic integrity that needs to take place when guys decide that they want to release these photos. And I'm not trying to knock anyone, but come on. What's the point? Is it to get clicks?
Yes.
Are you trying to
Yeah.
get clicks?
Ad
Yeah,
rev.
they are.
And of course they are, which is a travesty because that's not
Sucks,
why
dude.
we watch these shows. We watch these shows because we want to get insight, not to be spoiled from a movie. Stop trying.
Yeah.
Anybody who's making YouTube content like we are on this, please stop trying to spoil the movie. Just stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Let's enjoy it. Let's all go to the movies together and feel what we felt when
All of us.
we heard Sam Wilson
Together.
say on your
Forever.
left, and every single hero in the MCU came out. The joy we felt when that happened. Had they shown that in the previews, people wouldn't be like, saw it in the previews. You know when you go see a movie, like with the lines that they
Simpsons
had.
did it.
I will say, sorry to jump in, Donovan, but and I totally
He needs
agree.
a breath. He's okay.
And as
Yeah, I was gonna say, you
like
help him
even
out.
as
Hated
someone
this show.
who isn't like super bothered by spoilers, like I said, if I run into them, I don't really care. As long as it's still done well, is whatever.
Right.
But I do understand. I 100% agree with you.
100% I agree.
That sucks. But do you think? And I'm going to use the word blame here. Maybe there's a better word. Is some of the blame for this on Sony and Disney? Because the reason people are looking for leaks is because they want to know if their favorite character is going to be in it, and they haven't confirmed it, and the movie comes
We
out
got
in a
a
month and a half.
teaser. We got a teaser. It's 35 days
Do
before
you
the movie
think
comes
there
out.
is
and
at
we've
least
not
a
even got
little
another.
bit by holding it back for so long?
Yes.
Do you think there's a little bit of, well, you
Since
were
it's out
kind
there,
of
That's
asking
fair.
for it for people to try and go and seek it out.
I want to know about it.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, we got a trailer 2 months ago that showed him. We don't need to see if Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in this movie. We just
I think
don't.
a lot of people do.
No, it's Spider-Man.
No,
All you
because
have to
I
say
know
is
a lot of people-
Spider-Man,
a lot
and
of people
are gonna
don't
go
even
see
like this.
I
Spider-Man.
think the mere fact that so many people are flying to it kind of disproves you there.
Swinging at it, if
that
you will.
people they want to know. They want to know. And I think if Sony had just it comes out in a month and a half. I think we're all in agreement. We as 4 big old nerds don't need another trailer. But
I
there
don't.
are people who are
I
like,
didn't
I
even
just
need
want to
the
know.
first
I just
one.
want to know. I just want to know. I just want to know.
But why? Why do you need to know? Why do you want to know?
That's about them. But I do know a lot of
The
people
same
who
way-
do want to know. And that is why leakers, if you build it, they will come. There's something people want to know, and they put it out there, and then people flock to it, and you get a bunch of ad rev. If Sony and Disney had at least gotten and like I said, it's not, if they do have any of the blame, it's like 5%. But I don't believe all these leaks happen if they confirm things a little bit earlier. And I'm not saying they should have, and that makes like
It's a super valid point.
I think it's concern though
a super valid
from
point.
2 different studio companies. It's concern that they're going to make back what they've invested.
for sure. Hundreds of
Eternals
millions of dollars.
cost $200 million.
Did
Spider-Man
what's-
is going to cost them more than that.
Yeah.
It's going to cost them more
But
than
aren't
that.
there better ways to do that? There's got to be better ways than showing us Andrew Garfield, Toby, and Tom Holland on the same thing, which I'm
I don't
I'm
even want
assuming
that,
is
dude.
what, 'cause
I don't want that.
I muted everything on my social media, on my Twitter and on my
No,
TikTok, because
man.
I don't want to see any of that stuff. But if it's something like that, then good job. You saw what everybody was thinking anyway.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I don't
you
understand
need,
why.
you need enough to draw the crowd in, but like us, I could have been like, this would have been cool that it was a Marvel movie and didn't have any trailers and everybody went to see it.
I
that
don't
would have
know.
been cool.
We got,
But
I'm
yeah,
going to be
ahead.
off
Keep going on,
Twitter.
and then I'll go.
I'm going to stay off Twitter.
Everybody-
Insta-face,
Everybody's
Tinder.
different. Everybody's different, and they want
Meta.
They
Meta.
want everybody that can possibly buy a ticket for this movie to buy a ticket for this
Well, they're
movie.
supposedly going back and forth.
You know?
I'm talking about Sony and the MCU or Disney. They're going back and forth about whether or not they want to show Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in the trailer.
Right. They.
And there's-
I think they can't.
There's arguing between them.
I think there's going to be enough money to go around. I
Or-
think they're going to sell more action figures. Burger King's going to get all
Yeah.
of the,
They're going to make their money
they're
back.
going to make it so
And
chill out.
with ease. With ease, they're going to make their
For
money
sure,
back.
for sure.
Because there's the European markets, there's the Asian markets, there's
Bro,
the American markets,
everybody
there's the
knows
Latin
Spider-Man.
markets.
There's no MCU film for 5 months after this comes out.
Shout out Batman. You can thank them for
Yeah,
that. So
they're gonna make their money.
another thing, okay, maybe since we don't need it in a trailer. What if Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire? Well, Tobey Maguire didn't. Tobey Maguire is on the record a long time ago saying, "Yeah, I'm in it." He has not denied it once.
No.
Andrew Garfield is running around denying the crap out of it. Tobey Maguire has not once said
Which
no.
makes no sense.
But if Andrew wasn't like, "Oh, I'm not in it. I'm not in it. I'm not in it," would it have? If he's not doing that, because a lot of the
This is a great point.
a lot of people seeking the leaks are going, well, he's saying he's not in it. I want to, I
want to know.
I may not go see this movie.
They should have come out and said that these guys are confirmed to be in this movie, but we're not going to show you
So
any
anything.
footage until you go
if
see
Andrew
it.
Garfield got up on Jimmy Fallon and said, "Yeah, I'm in this," and I'm not telling you nothing about it, go watch the movie. Then everyone
But
goes,
that
"He's in
would've
it.
sold
I don't need to see leaks."
everything.
I don't understand why they don't do stuff like that. So then we do all this, and then we get people who spoil it. I'm just saying in the trailer. In the first trailer we got Spider-Man, we got Doctor Strange, we got Green Goblin, we've got
Doc
Doc
Ock.
Ock, we got Electro, we got Lizard Man, and we got Sandman, all in that trailer. All in that trailer.
Common sense says, yeah, they're going to be in it. You don't need to be verified, right?
What more do you want? Of course the other
And I
Spider-Man are
think-
going to come because all these different villains
I
are
think
from
you
all from the
just-
different universe. And we saw a post-credit scene with Venom going into the MCU. That's
He
enough.
licked the TV.
I
You're
think you
right.
just made my point, though. I think you just made my point because even after that came out, Andrew Garfield is in interview saying, "No, I'm not in it. No, I'm not in it." So
He's
people
an
are going.
idiot.
Everyone is saying everything is
Yeah,
pointing
you are.
this way that it's going to be in the movie.
Yeah, you are.
And then Andrew Garfield's like, "No, I'm not." And so people go, "Whoa, hold on, wait, I don't know," because I guarantee you, there's people who are like, "If Andrew Garfield's not going to be in it, I don't care to see it." He's a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man, and if he's the one, so people are going,
Which is a shame.
I just
That
want
is
to
a
know.
shame.
I just want to. I mean, it is what it is, but
It's all the blind
You
Marvel
think they
fans.
wouldn't see it if he wasn't in it?
I know quite a
but they're still gonna watch it because
I know. There's a
it's
lot of
MCU.
there's a lot of women who really enjoy Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm being serious.
Okay, sure.
There's a lot of women who enjoy Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and they're like, "Ooh, I want to go watch Andrew Garfield in the
He's
movie."
almost as good looking as Donovan.
And people are like, almost. And if they're like, "Oh, he's not going to be in it," I'm not really interested in it. And that's not a huge factor, and it's not going to impact the thing that much.
Right.
But it is people going, "Well, I want to know. I want to know. Is he going to be in it? Let me get a leak. Let me see."
That's an interesting one, man.
You know what I
I
mean?
wanted to take a second to also not to cut you off. I want to take a second to mention that
Andrew's Gavin Cooley's favorite.
today
Gavin, shout out Gavin.
today is Veterans Day.
Yes.
It
And
sure is.
we want to take a moment to acknowledge all the veterans, and we want to say thank you for your service, and we appreciate you. And it's because of you that we live in a land that's free.
It
It's
is.
true.
Shout
And
out.
Get to do a show like this.
My father's a veteran. He's still kicking around, being a badass. I love him to death. Shout outs to my father, Steve. I love you. Happy Veterans Day.
Shout out Steve, Sonny's dad, and shout out Alenzo. I don't know if he's still in the chat. Awesome guy, 47. One of my best friends in the whole world. Lived
Yep.
with him. Just got back from deployment. He's
Alenzo's
that
the
guy.
man.
He's the man.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I have to shout out some of my veterans of my family. My cousin Jared with the USMC Semper Fi, my brother. I love you, man. And my best friend Matt, who was in the Navy. Thank you for all you guys have done for this country. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate
He was
it.
in the
Love you.
chat earlier. My dad's also a vet. He was, and my dad wasn't in the chat earlier, but Philip Kennedy Johnson was in the chat earlier,
Yeah.
and he's one of our favorite
Also a
vets as
veteran.
well. Also a veteran, actively serving actually. He's
Absolutely.
actively
Is
service as well.
indeed.
He's a beast.
Thank you
man.
for your service.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Honestly,
I need a cigarette after this show.
He need a couple.
No.
I don't smoke.
we
folks.
doing-
Real quick, I want to touch on a couple of news and notes. We'd mentioned the Chloe Zhao
yeah.
thing, directing the Star Wars project for Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that ends up happening, we know that now that it's going to be towards the end of the year. We thought we were going to get at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
The Ms. Marvel series is delayed
Got
until
delayed,
the end
man.
of 2022. Andor,
Oh, darn.
the Cassian Andor series will also be coming out
Mhm.
in the fourth quarter of 2022. There's going to be some light shed tomorrow as far as what we're getting timeline wise. And Henry Cavill, the Witcher himself, what is his name? Fleeflu?
Geralt.
Geralt.
Flea flu.
Flea flu.
What?
That got flea flu.
That man flea flu.
Some of you have heard of the swine
what
flu,
a-
the corona flu.
Now you're-
I have got the flea flu.
My favorite Witcher character is Fleeflu. Guys, Henry Cavill has said that the cape and it's still hanging. He's ready.
My mom
Yeah.
said you
He's
had
ready to
Xanax.
go. Come back as Soups, but he would be interested in playing Captain Britain.
Britain and the MCU.
That's a weird
Be
downgrade
Wolverine.
as an actor.
Please
as
be
a
Dude,
character.
Wolverine.
it's literally the Captain America for Britain.
Cool.
Yeah, but
And-
as far as like you go from being Superman to Captain Britain, bro.
I couldn't agree less with Paul. Like, yikes.
No, for sure.
And the little
Be a good century.
news tidbit I wanted to mention.
Good century.
Sexiest Man Alive is Mr. Paul Rudd.
Yes, he
And
is,
he's going
man.
to get
That's crazy. I thought
he said he's
Paul
going to
Bagnoli.
get business cards made in typical Paul Rudd fashion. The
I
guy
think-
doesn't age. He's a vampire.
I think he's actually aging backwards. That's the thing. The
He's
guy's
got Benjamin
hilarious.
Button syndrome.
The guy's hilarious. He's one of the funniest people ever, and I'm so glad that he's in the MCU as the character that he's in. You
Yeah.
know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It fits perfectly.
My favorite Paul Rudd thing is Living with Myself. It's on
Yeah.
Hulu.
No,
Netflix?
HBO, Netflix.
Netflix.
That's
it's
a
very
great
funny.
Is
show.
that when he clones himself?
He
Yeah.
clones himself,
Yeah.
and my favorite. I'm not gonna
Great
spoil like anything that like
Great show.
like story wise happens, but he goes back to this cloning place that's like undercover as like a massage parlor, and as he's going in, Tom Brady comes out,
Yeah.
and then he goes, "Oh, that's how Tom Brady looks so young and stays so young." He keeps
That's
cloning
great.
himself.
My favorite Paul Rudd moment has to be when he was on the Jimmy Fallon and he lip synced "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen.
Ooh.
If you
Stop.
give yourself an opportunity to go YouTube it, it is one of the funniest and silliest and most fun lip syncs that you see.
Right.
Because he totally like uses every camera in
Of
the room
course.
to do it, and
He's
he's
the man.
super animated, and he
He's
is
the man.
hilarious. Do yourself a favor, go watch Sexiest Man Alive, singing Queen.
Tomorrow
with Jimmy
night.
Fallon. Tomorrow night.
It's a Plusiversary tomorrow.
Plusiversary.
Plus Day. So this is like Plus Eve
Plus me.
right now.
Mm.
We're in Plus Eve.
Okay.
Tomorrow we'll be reacting to all things, all announcements.
Sounds weird.
I'm like,
Plus
okay, no,
Eve.
let
Don't
him
say it
run
again.
with
Don't
it.
say it again.
Let him run with it.
Disney Plus.
We
You're
need
gonna
to
get
make t-shirts.
Plusified tomorrow,
Plus Eve.
guys. Thanks for taking some time to check us out and hang out with us tonight. Paul is giggling.
Always.
Go ahead, Paul. What you got?
And yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
What's wrong with you? I don't know.
Paul, go ahead. And
Oh, what do you got? And I'm Donovan.
Sorry.
Shout out to we're a little creator corner here. Shout out Tom Taylor and Philip Kennedy Johnson is what I want to shout out this week. Philip was just in the chat. We got Dark Knights of Steel came out this past week, and that is fantastic by Tom Taylor. Then we have the War World Saga has begun from Philip Kennedy Johnson. That and Batman, Superman, and the Authority, which he had talked about with us, came out.
Really good.
It has begun. It's been building to this since the his run started, and it is fantastic and a lot of fun.
I want to give a quick shout out to the people that I'm working with on my new team: Tony, Sarah, Daphne, Raquel, April, Keith, Daphne, Kai, Steven, Kat, Brittany, Lay, Delea, Tito, Gabe, Clarissa, Brenda, Tiante, and of course, last but not least, Denise. Guys, thanks for watching the show. If you watch and subscribe.
Shout out Flea Flu.
Flea Flu.
We're at 299 subscribers. If you are in this chat and you have not subscribed, freaking hit subscribe. We'll
One
be at
more.
300
tell a friend,
subscribers.
tell a
Do
auntie,
it.
tell a cousin. We're trying to get this going,
Be
guys.
300. I'll get you a grilled cheese.
Or a
Let's do it.
quesadilla.
Or
Who knows?
bean and
pick.
cheese with no bean.
Love you guys. Talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Later, guys.
That's my nickname in high school. No bean.
No bean.
Speaking about beans, are we eating tacos and beer after this?
Yeah, it's going down.
The beans are not down and specific.
My wife just sent me this old picture of us.